It has been a little too long since the last time I recorded one of these, so if this episode is a little chopped, I just apologize ahead of time. I think I'm gonna do alright, but I have plenty to talk about. It's just whether or not can I do it in an organized way, or am I just gonna be spewing nonsense for about an hour. But welcome back to My Milk Podcast. I'm your host, Scramaram. You can find me on socials at Scramaram, basically everywhere besides like Facebook. I don't have a Facebook. I don't really care to have a Facebook. Sorry. But guys, I'm glad to be back. I gotta make more excuses because I already made a video making excuses about why I'm gone, but I gotta make more excuses for this podcast why it's been gone. And I think I'm gonna blame my friends. I feel like blaming my friends. I invited some friends on to do this podcast, and they were supposed to come on and they didn't because they were not feeling well, and it just made me not record for 4 weeks because yeah, that's my excuse. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. But I do plan to have more guest episodes come out. There's gonna be more people on the podcast. I do plan to do an episode with Ben and Jacob to combine those two in the same room, just to have the whole trio do a podcast together. I might have an episode with Benson again. That was a really good episode. I just I like doing the guest episodes. I like interviewing my friends, and want to become more I want to become more centered around the idea of this whole podcast being a way for me to just open up about stuff, talk freely about things, or just do interview based content and really like learn things about people in my life, because it's kind of cool what I've noticed now doing a couple episodes with like content with friends is you think that it would be hard to get to them and get them to spill things and get them to talk about stuff. But I think after like a first few minutes, it feels like the camera kind of goes away and then there's a natural sense of conversation. You learn to like engage in the idea of like answering the questions that are more fielded towards you. So I think that's just like it's been working out well, and I think people have been enjoying those episodes and I enjoy them. So guest episodes will be coming back. More regular content will be coming back. I'm not going to subscribe to the idea of doing weekly stuff again, but I want to get something out at least once a week. If it's a short, if it's a video, if it's a podcast, I just want to do something once a week because I want people to be able to view this channel and not just see 10 videos and be like, this seems like it's a dead thing. Like, I don't like this is cool to me. Doing this is cool to me. It might not be the most self-sufficient thing, and I might have to really nurture it for a while, and maybe eventually I hire an editor so I can get stuff out faster. Sorry. Tried. This will go without saying. I tried really hard to record episodes. I won't lie. I had 3 Mind Milk episodes. They all got scrapped because my confidence was like in the dumps and they just came out horrible. The episodes were really bad. One of the episodes I was like barely awake talking. I was like half awake. So can't use that. And then I had a podcast episode talking about my 5 years of streaming because I just recently hit my 5-year anniversary of being a streamer, and that whole episode had to be scrapped because the audio was not good. So I've triple checked now that the audio is good for this episode. I'm like consistently watching the audio bar now. So we're not going to have any issues. I don't want this to be all cutty, like cut out, chopped. And I'm going to keep the mic just kind of like freely floating around. I'll do what I want. No. This is a more relaxed setup. I think that was another thing that was kind of making me struggle was like I was very tense in the computer chair. I think it made it feel more like a job than like a relaxing thing. And now that I have like a nice little sofa that I've been using to stream and also like record mind milks on and stuff like that, I feel better. You know, and it's made it feel more natural. And I think that's the whole key. So, that is about it for, you know, just generalized like what has happened, where's the updates, what have I been up to? I mean, I think I talked about it pretty extensively in the like update video that I just did. But yeah, no, started I've been started watching more movies. I'm, consistently going out on dates now that I'm in a relationship, and one of the things that me and my significant other like to do is go watch movies. And so recently, the most recent movie we watched was Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And that movie, man, I have a problem. I'm so bad with horror movies. And I don't know if anyone else is like this, but like I'm like very bad. Like I'm so jumpy that like I have to like calm myself down and like give myself a pep talk because I don't want to get scared again. And then I get scared again. So like the pep talk doesn't do anything. And then meanwhile, I'm sitting there jumping up and down like a fucking little kid at this movie meant for teenagers, and I look over to my right, and my partner just sitting there, just like stone faced, like just enjoying the movie. Like nothing's scaring them. And they're turning and laughing at me because, like, obviously it's funny that, like, this grown big dude is just sitting in the corner of the theater going, like, just jumping violently. So I gotta learn. I don't know. If anyone can give me some advice about horror movies and how they get so good at not being scared by them, I just need to know. Maybe I'm just a jumpy person in general, but, like, I get jump scared so easily that it's just not I I don't know. Maybe I'm just an anxious person in general, but that movie was really good. I won't lie. The first movie was super boring to me. Five Nights at Freddy's 1 was like a 5 out of 10 for me, maybe. Not even. This movie, 8 out of 10. It was a really good film, and that's what I've noticed recently. The films that I've watched recently all have been kind of high rated. Actually, this poster right here, right behind me, for audio listeners, I am pointing at a poster. It is for The Running Man, which I went to go see with a couple of friends and my partner. And that movie was super good. I can't think of the actor's name. It's Glenn something, and it's pissing me off that I forgot it again because I just Googled it before we started recording, and now it's just out of my head. But Glenn in that movie was really good. The actor that is the main actor in that movie was super good at it, at his role. He did a fantastic job. That whole movie was fun. The action in it was crazy. There was some really cool moments. I really did like the whole narrative of it. I think the pacing was like it didn't feel like a long movie. It felt very like quick at times, and it got to like the point pretty quickly, and the ending was like a good little twist, and I liked it. I really did. I thought it was a good movie. So, I gave that like a high 8 as well. And then after that, I went to see Good Fortune with Benson, who was on this podcast. Benson and his lovely fiance Meg. And I think that's the nicest thing I've said about Meg. I just realized I said something nice about Meg. That's not normal for me. But shout out to their podcast. Their podcast I'm going to put floating right here. Go check it out. It is really good. I had a lot of fun listening to it. I was like kind of one of the first people that started listening to it, and I've listened to every episode. And I totally didn't pause this podcast to go check the name of the episode. I just knew it naturally. So go check out Benson and Meg's podcast called The Ketchup Corner, and I'll put it here or here or here or right on my face. Go check it out. And yes, I totally didn't have to look up the name of the podcast. I promise you I knew it. Come on. What do you guys take me to be? Um I went to go see it with Benson, Meg, and again my partner. Again, something we've been doing a lot. I'm a big fan of it. I like going to see movies, so she enjoys going to see movies as well. So it was a fun time, and I have to say Good Fortune was an underrated film this year. It didn't do well, I think, in the box office. I don't think it did well. I didn't really hear much about it. Keanu Reeves is just a treasure. That man's just meant to be loved. And he did such a good job being a guardian angel in that film. And Aziz Ansari, I don't think I've seen a lot with Aziz Ansari in it, but that was a good role for him. I think he did a really good job. Um, Seth Rogen felt very natural in that, and usually Seth Rogen kind of sticks out like a sore thumb in the movies that he's in because he's always like the that guy, and it's like he really wasn't that. Like he laughed like once in the movie like that, and everyone belly laughs at him laughing, and I'm like, I sit there, I'm like, huh. Um, who else was in that? Keke Palmer, always great. Love Keke Palmer, so she did really good. I think that whole movie was just solid up and down. I don't think I gave it like an 8, but like it was it was worth it. It was worth seeing. We weren't planning on seeing that, but it was what we ended up going to watch. So, you know, that's just sometimes how it goes. Sometimes you go to the movies without knowing what movie you're gonna see, and that's always a fun one because then you figure out real quick that like there's some stinkers. But I think recently there's been a renaissance of good movies. I saw the new Tron, and let me tell you, as a fan of Tron, I let my opinion kind of sit on this one for a little bit because just because I hate Jared Leto doesn't mean I have to hate that movie. It was really good, but the best part about it is I feel like Jared Leto's part in that movie was the worst part because I liked everything else about that movie. I liked the whole setup. I liked the design, the very trippy beginning that felt very Matrix like to the sound scoring. I think 9 Inch Nails does a lot of it. If I'm not mistaken, I think 9 Inch Nails was like all over that. And just in general, I think that movie had really good action in it, good like visual shots, camera work, everything was great. Jared Leto being the like kind of the disappointing part made me feel better because I don't like that guy. And I don't think you should like that guy too. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google Jared Leto and you can find out real quick why people don't like him. Um he ruined the Joker. That's what's wrong with him. No, I think that's to catch up with the movies. I don't think I watched anything else since the last podcast. I probably talked about what have I what have I talked about in my last few episodes. I don't know if I ever did a review on the Minecraft movie. Was that this year? Oh my god. Was that this year? It was this year, wasn't it? I watched a lot of movies this year, huh? Minecraft movie was dog shit, but the fan experience was great. We had a cool theater. We had a theater that wasn't throwing shit around, but I saw how crazy it got, and thank goodness I went to a movie theater that didn't have that pandemonium. But that was a fun time. I went with like a bunch of my friends. That was a blast. Minecraft movie was a horrible movie. Jack Black's funny. Jason Momoa felt like the most random casting of all time. Didn't stuck out like a sore thumb. Felt very weird that he was there. It's like that man, there's no way that man's played more than 5 minutes of Minecraft. It just feels like that was like the definition of a cash grab and it worked. So, good for them, you know. But movies aside, not really why the reason why I did this podcast episode. Actually, someone I just talked about earlier, Benson, aka Benson Dimension, aka the host of the Ketchup Corner. See, I didn't have to look it up this time. I already knew it. See, see. Um, Benson brought up a good point. Recently, the Game Awards happened, and I was watching it, and I will say I was hate watching it. Not in the sense that I was like preemptively wanting to hate it, every year I go into the expectation of the Game Awards being halfway decent, and I was very, very, very much let down. I don't think it was good at all. Quite literally, I thought it was the worst Game Awards I've ever seen. And this is coming from an era of watching the Last of Us 2 Game Awards where it swept everything and then everyone was super annoyed that it swept everything. We had a second renaissance of The Last of Us 2. Actually a more dominant one. And this is a preamble before all the clear obscure Expedition 33 fans come to send death threats to me. Just know I have not played your game. I have no clue what I'm talking about, and I'm not a video game critic at all. So whatever I say, just take it as a stupid idiot with a microphone talking really big nonsense. Anyways, thank you. Let me get back to my point. The Game Awards this year felt horrible. And not in a because one game won all the categories. More in the sense that they let one game win all the categories. And I know that sounds like that's the same thing and I just repeated it. It's a little different. See, I wouldn't have had a problem if I felt like that game deserved all the categories. But in my opinion, it didn't. If there's games out there that during their years didn't sweep, but this one is the one that swept, I just don't think that's right. And I think that there was some better cases for other games this year. And I think this is what I'm driving to my next point. And I think I actually clashed heads with Benson a little bit about this. And Benson had some pretty good points. But I think the voting system for the Game Awards is broken. I think it's bad. I think whatever they're doing, they need to stop doing that version. And I think what it is it just became a popularity contest, which Benson made a good point. That's almost every award show. But Game Awards doesn't have to be like every award show. See, something like sports, like the NBA's MVP voting system is a ranked based voting system where your number one vote is your most valuable vote. But you still have a second, third, and fourth place vote. So technically, say a game only gets 50% of the number one votes, but then another game gets about 30% of the number one votes, but almost all of the second place votes. That means that secondary game would actually be the more important game. And I kind of want to see that for the Game Awards. Not because I don't want the popular game to win, but I kind of want controversy. I want people to talk about this. In about 2 weeks from now, nobody's going to be talking about the fact that Claire Obscure won 9 awards. But say if we had a similar scenario where Claire Obscure won 6 or 7 6 or 7 awards and say Hades 2 ends up winning Game of the Year because of the ranked choice vote. How much drama and how much conversation and tweeting and all this social posting would it draw compared to if someone just clean swept? And maybe this is me being more like content brained, where I'm like, oh, all attention's good attention at the end of the day. Which, yes, I know that's flawed thinking for some people, but I genuinely do think that, like, if you want to make it big in something, being polarizing is a great way of getting there. You won't see me doing that because I do have some morals, and I think having authentic chats with chatters are more worth it than to have a controversial opinion that goes viral and then I have a bunch of people that are sending me death threats. Either way, a view is a view. But when it comes to the Game Awards, they don't care. They don't care if they're getting negative post or positive posts. It's attention to the page. People will get notoriety from it. Jeff Keighley will still be Jeff Keighley. But it will be Jeff Keighley who hosted the award that had the biggest scam of all time. And I think that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the headlines and you're looking for some sort of drama. I knew after the first award that Claire Obscura was about to sweep the whole thing. I've watched gameplay for the game. I think it's a good game. I think it's fine. But do I think it should have won 9 awards out of the possible, 15 nominations? No. No. I think there was plenty of other games that deserved some recognition and some wins in. The fact that Claire Obscura is the only game that won multiple awards is pretty telling of how seriously lopsided the Game Awards was. And that's just talking about the games, the games, the awards, and everything else. That's just talking about that. Let's get to the actual meat and potatoes of why people watch the Game Awards. The game announcements. This made me miss E3, even though E3 was fucking garbage. Oh my god, E3 at least knew how to do game announcements. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. We had so many stinkers get announced. And we had nothing really surprising besides like a couple games. Like I would say the the Fate of the Old Republic, the Fate of the Republic, the Star Wars game looks great. However, it doesn't come out for another 6 years. Why is it being announced? Why? The development team for that game started working on it this year. Why are we getting shown anything for it? I genuinely don't understand. And then, there's some other games that I was really excited to see. I know there's some weird controversy right now with the new Divinity game because it's using AI, but it's not using generative AI, and the team's fine with the AI that's used. And it's like, okay, if the team's fine with it and it's not generative AI, I don't know. I have a hard time seeing the harm in it, but I also do understand there's a lot of purists in the gamer world that just doesn't want AI in their games. I don't blame you. But I think if it doesn't delete a job and if it doesn't remove um skill, if it doesn't remove like a talented artist from the process and it's just something to help with like management of the file to make the file smaller, or if it's something to do with like how the engine's running, or just like the actual bones of the game, nothing design wise, I'm like, I feel like it's gonna happen anyways. It's just whether or not they're gonna tell us about it. If they're not, eventually they're just gonna stop telling us about it, and we're gonna have to figure out for ourselves if games are being used or if AI is being used for the games that we like. So I kind of let that one go. Plus, that Divinity trailer was insanely good. I'm actually looking forward to that one. I want to talk more about the timing of when you announce certain games. You had a Mega Man game, a new Star Wars, um, uh, a Ace Combat, and then a couple other games that I would quite literally consider the last game material. But instead, you give it to a game that shows potential of being another hero shooter in a climate full of hero shooters. I am tired. And I like look at me. I am tired of hero shooters. Overwatch killed it for me. Overwatch 2 killed it for me. I was on the hero shooter bandwagon. I was with it. I was like, damn, Overwatch, one of the best games of all time. 2016, Overwatch in its prime, one of the best times to be playing video games. They they nuked it with Overwatch 2. And then Marvel Rivals came out. And that just really set it farther back for me. Because I'm like, oh god, it's just another way for Overwatch fans to be the most annoying people on the gaming sphere. So I am tired of hero shooters. I think we've burned this category enough. This is the new battle royale of shooting genre. Nobody wants another hero shooter. We just want a distinct FPS that feels original, but yet rooted in something. Like, for example, I thought Splitgate was a good concept. I thought the idea of portal based shooters was a great concept. Was it delivered the right way? Time will tell on that one. Splitgate 2 seems like it's off to a rough start, but I like that concept. I don't, however, like the idea that we're getting a game made by the Titanfall devs, and I'm blanking on the other development team. The Titanfall and I think the Apex devs? I could be wrong on that. I think it was Apex. Anyways, we got a game coming from the oh no, sorry. Destiny 2. Nasty. Nasty, nasty. The fact that we're getting a Destiny and Titanfall development collaboration dev team for this game, I'm just I'm not excited for it. I thought I'd be excited for Titanfall devs. And this is going to age like sour milk if like in like 5 years from now this is like the number 1 shooter and people love High Guard and I love High Guard because again, I'm a fan of the shooter based combat system, and any game that has that, I'm like usually sold on. So quite literally, if this all comes back to bite me in the butt, I'm gonna look like an idiot. But I just don't. I'm not interested in it now, and I don't think it should have been the last game on the release list. I'm heavily disappointed that there was no Valve mention. This is more of a direct attack at Valve, less about the Game Awards, because the Game Awards don't decide what games go on there. They decide what performances go on. By the way, that Street Fighter performance where they had everyone come out and Andrew Schultz talked for way too long for Andrew Schultz to be talking. God, why is that guy in that movie? I'm like really sad about that because that movie seems good. That movie seems like it's gonna be so good, and then it's like Andrew Schultz. It's like why? Anyways, that was odd, but I got it. They were all drinking. They were all pretty shit faced when they came out there. I probably wanted to loosen up a little bit, but everyone was pretty loose. Like that was crazy. The whole audience knew. Like there was like you could hear a pin drop when they were talking. And then they were like what did Schultz say again? It was like if you have played Street Fighter, make some noise in your life. Like, he like just like completely flipped words around. The man did not need a mic. He was quite literally yelling the whole time. And then he brought up Mortal Kombat, which I can't imagine was good for the Street Fighter dev team to hear. I can't imagine they were too happy to hear that. Mentioning your rivals, even if it's a joke. It's like, okay, what are you doing? Anyways, I was disappointed by the performances. Thought the flute guy was great when they did all the different scores and the end wrap up song and how beautiful it was. I thought the Divinity trailer where they had before the Divinity actually started, where they had a bunch of people get shot up into the air with wires. I thought that was great. The Muppets being there, like Muppets I know are regular things, but they were not. They were a non-factor this year. Miss Piggy was not entertaining, and it just I don't know, it just screamed like last minute decision to throw the Muppets in there. Everything felt last minute. What I really, 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 really had a hard time believing. This is again, it's less about the Game Awards and more about this publishing company, Valve. You have a console that you just announced. You don't know Steambox, Steamcube. What is it called? I don't care. The Steam console that they just announced. is coming out in the near future. You have the Game Awards, where they promote games. That could have been your place to promote your launch title for your new console, because there's no way they're launching a console without a console title. And I guess they didn't really do it with the Steam Deck, but I imagine with Hades coming out when it did, Steam Deck comes out. I imagine there was a little bit of planning, because I'm almost certain every single person that I know that has a Steam Deck is playing Hades on their Steam Deck. So it was kind of like a weird like correlation thing. Valve, give us Half-Life 3. Give us Portal 3. Hell, give us a TF3. Give us something. We've been waiting for so long from something from them that's not a Deadlock update or not a CS2 crash the market update. Give us a game. Give us a game that we've been waiting for years. Anything. Anything. You know, I'm not a greedy person. Quite literally, I think I'm the most committed to Valve games. I've been playing Counter-Strike since 1.6. I'm not good at all, but I have been playing since I was younger, playing on 1.6 on my gateway computer. Yes, that's a throwback. If you know what a gateway computer is, you are an OG. Or you're just old. Both the same thing, basically. Anyways, I just want something from Valve. I really do. And I'm so disappointed it didn't come up in the Game Awards. I think that was immediately my gut reaction was, damn, they couldn't get anything from Valve, but why did they make High Guard the final announcement? Should have been Mega Man. I think the new Mega Man should have been the final announcement of the night. If you ask me, that's what's going to drive you the most hype, not some random Titanfall Destiny collab game that nobody's heard anything about, and Jeff Keighley's telling you that he loves it, so we're gonna love it. That man has never touched a shooter game in the last like 10 years. And no offense to Jeff Keighley and his cool shoes and his weird fashion statements, but I'm gonna be so honest with you. It just screamed, I'm getting paid to say whatever. Nobody's believing you that you're a diehard fan of the game, you know? And that's what was annoying. It was just like, all right, this bullshit again. Like we're getting fed this like fake feeling of like a good game coming out. And it's like it's a hero shooter. This genre has been beaten to the ground. But we give all these games a shot. I'm excited for the new Resident Evil. I'm excited for the new Star Wars when I'm 30 years old. That's crazy to me. Oh my god, I just thought about that. The new Star Wars game is going to come out when I turn 30. Oh, oh my god, I'm going to be that person. I'm going to be that person. I'm going to be 30 years old booting up Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic. Oh my god. All right. That's what they want. That's what they want. That's what the Disney devs want. By the way, fuck Disney, but that's just a side tangent point. I still hate Disney, but I love Star Wars, so it just sucks. What else came out this year? Or that what else is gonna announce? Oh, this is another one. And I think this was a noticed thing with everyone that was in that call that night. Again, I streamed with Benson Dimension. Benson had a lot of their friends show up, and we, kicked it and talked about what we were excited for and what was going to get announced and what wasn't going to get announced. And they brought up like a bunch of games, and I brought up a couple games. And then when we were watching it, did anyone notice that there was two Tomb Raider games and they're back to back pretty quickly, like one by one? I think that's so weird. And someone made up a good point that the first game looked a lot different from the second game. And I'm convinced that the first game was made by AI. it seems like the first game is AI slop, and they're just gonna try to see if people like it, and then they're gonna release the actual game that they made, because it just felt like that, you know? Why 2 games? Who does that? Unless they're Call of Duty or a sports franchise game, there's no point in releasing a game a year, which that's also to me, like, insane that Call of Duty's still doing that to this day, and they get away with it. People buy their games. This Black Ops 7, if we're talking about just, like, straight up video games, Black Ops 7 might be the worst Call of Duty I've ever seen, and it is officially the game that has taken me out of the scene. I have not watched anything of Black Ops 7. I tried it on a free to play weekend. Ooh, ooh, that game reeks. That game just smells bad. I don't know, like, that game, if I was a personified person, that's the person that you walk by and you just get that smell in your nose and you're like, "Oh," and you know it's that person that you just walked by, but you don't wanna tell them because you're like, "I feel bad because they've been around for so long." You know it's them, but, like, you don't wanna hurt their feelings. Those Call of Duty devs need to do something different because that game was rancid. It was gross. Battlefield, that was great. Battlefield 6, great game. Fantastic game. It's just it's tough. It's a tough market right now for gaming, and with all these games coming out, it makes me wonder, like, are we gonna have a boom or bust year next year? And my I think my thought is I think we're gonna have a bust year unless GTA actually comes out. If GTA comes out, we're eating good. GTA 6 comes out and it actually does release in 2026 and we waited 13 years for a new GTA game and it comes out and it's just as good as it looks. I, I don't see a lot of people playing any other game for a little bit. I know for a fact when it finally announces that it's going to be coming out, I'm taking days off work. I'm taking days off, you know? And I'm just enjoying that. But recently, in lieu of the idea of GTA coming out, I have picked up GTA 5 again. And it just made me realize that a good game doesn't have to be something new that came out in the last few years. That game came out in 2013. That game is still so good. It's just such a good game. It's in my top 5 all time. It has to be. I spent so long in that game. I've spent so much time. I've spent money, a lot of money on that game. That's a game that's worth it in my opinion. If you are like looking to get into like playing more story-based driven games with a fun multiplayer, GTA 5, if you've never even tried it, which is crazy to me, if you're a gamer and you've never tried GTA 5, I don't know where you've been. That's like not playing Minecraft, which is another game that I picked up again recently. Dude, it's fun. It's fun to be a gamer right now. There's just so much. And it's just that's why it's so disappointing that something like the Game Awards was mm, so poop. So poop from a butt. It's like, dude, how do you fumble when right now games are so much fun. Arc Raiders was such a blast. That was such a good game. And it's like that. Dispatch was a good game. There's so many fun games this year that have came out. Hey, you know what? For all the Claire Obscure fans, I guarantee you your game's a lot of fun. Not 9 awards fun. Maybe 6 awards. Maybe 7 awards? No, I just made that joke twice. I need to calm down. I'm I'm in my mid-20s. I gotta ease up on that. I'm hitting the point now where when I do stuff that is, like, hip with the youth, I'm really starting to make myself seem like I'm like that church pastor that's like, Hello, my fellow kids, like, hello, what's up? You guys want to go skateboard?" I'm like, I'm in my mid-20s. I I didn't grow up on 6 7. I grew up on 21, and it's just showing. The age is showing, and I gotta. I don't know. I that's something I'm realizing is I have to grip with the reality that I am I'm getting older, and it is it's hard to keep up with the memes. It's hard to. I, Good story. Recently, my friend group decided, guys. One of my buddies decided message the group chat, said, guys, we are going to J.C. Penney, getting professional photos of ourselves with matcha lattes and quarter zips. Now, if you ask me what that sounds like, is it sounds like my friend is completely delusional. Because I know most of my friends in that friend group. I don't think any of them have any clue what matcha is. I know what matcha is because I've had matcha before. It's gross. Tastes like dirt. Tastes like dirt and grass. But to them, I'm like, why is he mentioning that? And then everyone's in agreement. Everyone's down. It wasn't even a question of like, oh yeah, wait, what's a quarter zip? Nobody had any questions. Everyone knew. And I'm like, am I missing something? And I was. I missed a trend. I've been missing trends. Guys, I'm not hip anymore. I'm finding this out. Mind you, by the way, JC Penney, count your freaking days. We did professional photos with what was it? 7 people? I'm not doing it again. I was about to do the freaking I was about to do it again. Not doing it again. We went with a group of friends to JC Penney for professional photos, and everyone each individually had to pay $42 for the photos. We didn't even get all the photos that we took because JC Penney couldn't process a couple of the photos because they didn't turn out well. They were blurry and crappy. We got professional photos. What do you mean that they were blurry and crappy? Wasn't that guy's job to do the professional photo? What are we talking about? I was blown away when I heard this. I was like, "Huh? What, like we didn't get the photo like the photos didn't happen?" And yeah, 100%. That's exactly what they meant. The photos just didn't happen. We didn't get sent them. We didn't get a refund. We didn't even get a discount. We got offered one free photo. So, I just want to say this with full sincerity. JCPenney uses child labor and they should be shamed for it. If you go to JCPenney to shop, you should be shameful of yourself. Don't buy anything at JCPenney. The JCPenney is dangerous and it could lead to your kid getting kidnapped. Anyways, I had a fun time taking photos with friends. I think that was a cool little like hangout because like you just don't do stuff like that with friends often, and I think it just reminded me to just be willing to do goofy stuff with people. It just meant it was a cool little bonding experience. Um, Crazy photos. I mean, quite literally, the friend group snapped. We had some really funny photos. So I'm glad that we did it, and I'm hoping that we make that a tradition. It would be cool to do that. But besides that, what is something else to bring up? What has happened in my life recently that has been fun or entertaining of some sort that I could mention and it would be cool? I have a boring life. No, that's not true. I don't have a boring life. I think I just have a life that rolls too quickly for me to remember everything that I do in a week. And then it's also like not everything that I mention will make sense because it's like sometimes it's deep context of years and years of like friendship or drama throughout the years that has been like my life. Um what has been the drama in my life right now? Oh, this is a fun one. So I live in the northern hemisphere, northeast North America, northeast United States, I guess, not North America, because northeast North America would be like upper Canada, and I don't live there. But I live in a cold climate around this time of year. It's been tough. It's been very snowy. It's been very ice cold. I've slipped a couple times. The snow is pelting us left and right. I think every weekend it's like snowed recently, so it's been very fun to take care of that and just deal with the stress of snow. And for anyone who is in a snowy climate that does their yard work, aka like shoveling the driveway, you know this feeling when you shovel a driveway and all of a sudden a snowplow comes. You know that feeling. You can feel the pain with me. That shit sucks. Anyways, besides the point. With the winter season coming around, my car's been doing this really fun thing where I get in my car, I start it up, I turn on the heat, everything's fine. All of a sudden, every dashboard light pops up on my car. Every single one. Not a single one is missing. I, you get the oil light, you get the traction light, you get the ABS light, you get the engine, you get the other engine, you get the third engine, you get the one that looks like an engine but is actually just not an engine light. I quite literally had like 10 different warning symbols on my dashboard. I'm like, that's cool. Not normal, but that's cool. So it's been this fun little game where randomly on the cold nights, the ice cold nights, the nights that you don't want to be outside for more than 5 seconds, my car just decides to play this fun little game of nope, every single warning light goes on. And my solution for right now, while I wait to get it fixed, and anyone that's a mechanic or knows anything about cars can maybe comment and explain what's going on while I wait for my car to get fixed because I had to make an appointment. I have to go flip open the hood of my car, take a 10 millimeter wrench, unscrew my battery, detach my battery, and then reattach my battery to factory reset my car to then get all the dashboard lights off. Yes, that has been my life the last few weeks, and it drives me just a little bit insane. So, that's the new little life update. I'll give you an update on that next time I do one of these. But overall, I'll say I'm doing great. I'm doing pretty good. Uh, you know, got over the woes of, Friendsgiving being a crazy time of year and feeding a bunch of mouths and all these projects that come up when you do holiday celebration. Um, it's the tough times are over. The busy times are over. I can get back to making content. I'll be back into the swing of things, and I'm glad to be back. So you'll see content from me soon, whether it's a Mind Milk or another podcast, or just a short, or just in general something different. Look out for that. I saw that. I saw that. I hope that showed up on the screen. I'm gonna leave on that note. That was like a that looks like a spirit. I'm not like, like holy water aside, like I'm gonna sage this place. That that flew across the screen. I I hope everyone saw that. And if you're not audio listener, if you're not watching this, switch to the visual and just play back like 10 seconds ago. I swear to God, I'm not going crazy. I saw something. All right. Before I go even crazier and say I'm seeing things, which I already am doing, I'm going to head out. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Take care. Wonderful night. I hope you guys have a good one. Take care. And I'll see you guys for the next episode. Peace. No, that definitely was something though. I'm not crazy. There was like something that flew across the